when we look at the cost of provision of for water and sanitation, we see that most of the investments from the public sector is going towards hardware components. That is basically constructing the infrastructure in terms of systems, supply systems, distribution systems, etc. But not much in terms of the software component, which is mainly should be in terms of capacitating the communities in terms of how they should manage their systems in a more sustainable manner, and educating them in terms of importance of management of their own resources, and also the hygiene practices they should follow in order to get the benefits of the systems. So that in the absence of that, what we see most of the times is the failure of the systems, because they are not managed by the communities in an appropriate manner. And the software component is more important in the case of sanitation when compared to drinking water. It's not to say drinking water doesn't require software components, it also requires, but more in the case of sanitation, where the software component should strive to bring an attitudinal change, the cultural change it should bring in, where it plays a very important role when compared to the hardware. Sanitation is mainly about the personal hygiene, why they should use the toilets, and what are the important things they should do in terms of protecting their health from the unhygienic practices. All these things are very important for the sanitation. So the emphasis should be more on software along with the hardware component. And at the moment, the sanitation sector receives very nominal allocations. It is in fact tagged to the drinking water sector, and this is not going to help in terms of achieving 100% sanitation or 100% open defecation free communities. The approach to sanitation should be a shift in the paradigm or the thinking at the policy level, which should focus on mainstreaming sanitation in terms of allocating budgets as well as planning. The costs of sanitation are estimated, as in our study, are much higher than the drinking water investment requirements at the given level of service levels. So this should be taken into account while improving the sanitation conditions in the country like India. As per the guidelines, the software component should get at least 10% of the allocations given to the sector. Especially to the drinking sector, there is a clarity in the guidelines that 10% should go towards sanitation software component. But at the moment, it doesn't even cover 2 or 3%. So it is very important to see that allocations are maintained as per the guidelines. For the sanitation also same applies, though we don't have exact figures in terms of software and hardware components, as the minimum requirement is not really worked out in the sanitation context, but one need to work out the requirement and have a specific normative allocations even in the context of sanitation.
The software approach in terms of community participation, in terms of IEC activities, in terms of community responsibility also. Everybody talks of participation. You know, when we went to Gujarat, what was really very, very heartwarming was the fact that people are so responsible and they are so disciplined. They are so disciplined. They appreciate the value of water, its proper usage, that it should not be wasted. It is a commodity which has a cost attached to it. Everybody thinks of water as free. See, the importance of expenditure on hardware is symbolic. It is seen. In Medaram Jatra, we have now erected, the department has very successfully done 13 OHSRs. I'm glad I could do it. Otherwise, every year on Vidaram we are spending 5 crores on temporary structures. Here it was very useful, but in elsewhere, for instance, in another district, in every habitation they need at least 2 OHSRs. Whether it's a requirement or not a requirement is a separate issue. It's a symbol, it's seen. Whereas the importance of the software component is not recognized, it's not valued, it's not seen. We have to recognize that, and somewhere my job is to build, to bring in some sort of a harmony between requirements of the different levels that we deal with as administrators and requirements of the people who are actually the end users. There is no doubt at all that sanitation is completely marginalized. The RWS department is known as Rural Water Supply Department. It's only now that sanitation has been tagged on to us. So we are now RWS and S. Sanitation has been completely marginalized, has to be mainstream, and we're doing everything possible to do that now.